What if the stubborn fat that appears after 45, the fatigue, the slower metabolism, even the brain fog, isn't simply a normal part of aging? What if it's happening because a powerful repair system inside your body has quietly switched off? And what if scientists have discovered that a simple 3-day metabolic reset may help wake that system back up, potentially activating stem cells and restoring the body's natural fat-burning ability? Most people have never heard of this mechanism, yet it may explain why some people in their 60s feel energetic and lean, while others struggle with constant fatigue and weight gain. Today, we're going to break down the science behind it. I'm Dr. Mason Sterling, a cellular metabolism researcher, and welcome back to the channel. For more than 25 years, my work has focused on how the body generates energy at the cellular level, and why that system begins to slow down for many people after the age of 40. The truth is, aging itself is not the real problem. The real problem is that many of the biological repair switches inside the body gradually become inactive. But the fascinating part? Research now suggests that certain metabolic signals, especially those triggered during short periods of dietary change, can actually reactivate some of those systems, including pathways linked to stem cell regeneration and fat metabolism. And one of the most powerful signals appears to happen during something surprisingly simple: a 3-day metabolic reset. In today's video, I'll explain the biology behind it, the research supporting it, and most importantly, how to do it safely and effectively. Let me ask you something. Have you noticed that after your mid-40s, things that once felt easy suddenly become difficult? You might recognize some of these changes. You wake up in the morning and still feel tired, even after a full night of sleep. Your energy crashes in the afternoon. Weight begins accumulating around the abdomen and waistline, even though your diet hasn't changed much. Your joints feel stiff when you get out of bed. Your mind feels a little slower, and sometimes there's a mild brain fog that didn't exist years ago. Many people assume this is simply getting older, but biologically speaking, that explanation is far too simple. Because if aging alone caused these symptoms, everyone would experience them the same way. Yet we all know people in their 60s and even 70s who seem energetic, mentally sharp, and surprisingly lean. So what's the difference? The answer lies deep inside your cells. Inside every cell in your body are tiny energy factories called mitochondria. Think of them like the power plants of a city. When those power plants are running efficiently, the city has plenty of electricity. Lights stay on, systems run smoothly. But when power plants start slowing down, the entire city struggles. Energy becomes limited, maintenance gets delayed, infrastructure begins to break down. The exact same thing happens inside the human body. When mitochondrial activity declines, several things begin happening at once. Fat burning slows down. Inflammation increases. Cellular repair declines. Stem cell activity becomes weaker. And one of the biggest consequences? Your body becomes very good at storing fat, but very poor at burning it. This is why many people over 45 feel like their metabolism has simply stopped working. But here's the fascinating part. The body actually contains ancient metabolic switches designed to solve this exact problem. These switches evolved thousands of years ago, long before modern food abundance existed. And they activate when the body senses something very specific. Not exercise, not supplements, but temporary nutrient scarcity. When the body experiences a short period with lower energy intake, something remarkable begins to happen at the cellular level. Several powerful repair pathways activate simultaneously. One of the most important is something called autophagy. Autophagy is essentially the body's cellular recycling program. Old, damaged cellular components are broken down and removed, making room for newer, healthier structures. At the same time, another pathway begins activating, one associated with stem cell renewal. Stem cells act like the master repair crew of the body. They can transform into different types of cells needed for tissue repair, regeneration, and maintenance. But as we age, these stem cells become less active and more dormant. Scientists now believe that certain metabolic signals, especially those triggered during short fasting or low-calorie periods, can reawaken some of these dormant repair cells. And when that happens, two very noticeable things can occur. The body becomes more efficient at repairing tissue, and it becomes much better at burning stored fat for energy. Over the past decade, several research institutions have explored this idea. Scientists studying metabolic health discovered that short-term fasting cycles can trigger biological responses linked to cellular renewal. In laboratory studies, researchers observed that when the body enters a temporary low-nutrient state, several repair systems become dramatically more active. These include pathways linked to mitochondrial repair, inflammation reduction, metabolic flexibility, stem cell activation. In some controlled experiments, researchers even observed signs that certain fasting cycles could stimulate regenerative activity in tissues once normal eating resumed. Now, this does not mean fasting is a miracle cure, but it does suggest something very important. The body contains built-in regeneration programs that modern lifestyles rarely activate. And a short 3-day metabolic reset may be one way to trigger those signals. There's a right way and a wrong way to do it. Because many people attempt these resets incorrectly and accidentally slow their metabolism instead. In the next part of this video, I'll explain the 3 most effective strategies scientists believe can help trigger these regeneration signals, including the specific foods, timing, and habits that make the biggest difference. And I'll also share 3 common mistakes that can completely cancel out the benefits of this 3-day reset. Before we talk about the strategies themselves, there's something extremely important to understand. This 3-day reset is not about starving yourself. That's one of the biggest misconceptions people have. The goal is not to shut down your metabolism. The goal is to send very specific signals to your body that temporarily shift it out of storage mode and into repair mode. When done correctly, your body begins using stored fat for fuel, while simultaneously activating cellular pathways linked to repair and regeneration. But those signals only happen when certain biological conditions are met. Let's walk through the most effective ways scientists believe this process can be triggered. Strategy number 1. Activate metabolic switching. The first strategy is something researchers call metabolic switching. Most people today run almost entirely on glucose, which comes from carbohydrates. Every time we eat refined carbs or sugary foods, the body releases insulin, which tells the body to store energy rather than burn it. When insulin levels remain elevated throughout the day, fat burning becomes extremely limited. But when the body goes several hours without significant carbohydrate intake, insulin levels begin to drop, and something powerful happens. The body begins switching from glucose burning to fat burning. This is known as metabolic switching. Once this shift occurs, the liver begins producing molecules called ketones, which act as an alternative fuel source for the brain and body. Ketones do more than just provide energy. Research suggests they also signal repair pathways, including those involved in mitochondrial health and inflammation reduction. This is one of the reasons short-term fasting or very low carbohydrate periods can sometimes lead to improved mental clarity and stable energy. For the 3-day reset, the goal is to encourage this metabolic switch. That means temporarily lowering foods that spike insulin. For most people, this includes reducing refined sugars, white bread, processed snacks, sweet beverages. Instead, the body is supported with nutrient-dense foods that keep insulin relatively low. These typically include vegetables, healthy fats, moderate protein. But there's another important signal that plays a huge role in this reset, and that signal comes from timing. Strategy number 2, the 14 to 16-hour overnight reset. One of the most powerful metabolic signals happens during overnight fasting. When the body goes 14 to 16 hours without food, insulin levels drop significantly, and the body begins tapping into stored energy. Now here's something interesting. Many people unintentionally block this process by eating late at night. For example, a late dessert, a midnight snack, or even alcohol close to bedtime. When this happens, insulin remains elevated while you sleep, and instead of entering repair mode, the body remains in storage mode. During the 3-day reset, a simple adjustment can make a huge difference. Finish your final meal earlier in the evening and allow the body a longer overnight break from digestion. For example, dinner around 6 or 7 p.m., then the next meal around 9 or 10 a.m. the following morning. This creates roughly a 14 to 16-hour overnight metabolic window. During this window, several helpful processes begin activating. The body increases fat oxidation, inflammation signals may decline, and certain cellular repair systems begin working more efficiently. Many people also report something interesting during this phase. By the second or third morning, they notice clearer thinking and more stable energy. But the next strategy is where the reset becomes even more powerful, because certain foods appear to support the body's regenerative signals during this process. Strategy number 3, the stem cell supporting nutrients. During short metabolic resets, the body becomes highly responsive to nutrient quality. This means the foods you choose during these 3 days can strongly influence the results. Several nutrients are especially important for supporting cellular repair and stem cell function. One of the most interesting is found in cruciferous vegetables. These include broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, kale. These vegetables contain compounds that help activate detoxification enzymes and antioxidant defenses inside cells. This reduces oxidative stress, which is one of the biggest factors that damages stem cells and mitochondria over time. Another important nutrient group comes from healthy fats. Foods like olive oil, avocados, walnuts provide fatty acids that support stable energy production while insulin levels remain low. And when insulin remains stable, the body is much more likely to stay in fat-burning mode. But there's another food category that often surprises people: foods rich in polyphenols. These natural compounds appear to support longevity pathways in the body. You'll find them in foods such as blueberries, green tea, dark cocoa, extra virgin olive oil. Some research suggests polyphenols may influence cellular pathways associated with repair and inflammation control. When combined with short metabolic resets, these foods may help amplify the body's regenerative signals. However, even with the right strategies, there are still several common mistakes people make that completely sabotage the reset. And unfortunately, many health programs never mention them. In the final section of this video, I'll show you 3 major mistakes that stop fat burning completely, pro tips that dramatically increase the benefits of the reset, and the most important message people over 45 need to hear about their body's ability to repair itself. Now, before you try a 3-day reset like this, there's something very important you need to know. Because even though the strategies we just discussed can be powerful, their effectiveness depends heavily on how you support your body during those 3 days. And this is where many people accidentally sabotage the entire process. So let's start with a few pro tips that can dramatically increase the benefits. Pro tip number 1, support mitochondria with gentle movement. During a metabolic reset, many people think they should avoid activity completely. But light movement actually amplifies the metabolic signals we talked about earlier. Remember those mitochondria we discussed? The tiny power plants inside your cells? They respond extremely well to gentle physical activity during low insulin states. When you walk, stretch, or perform light resistance exercises while the body is already shifting toward fat metabolism, the mitochondria receive a powerful signal to become more efficient and more numerous. Scientists call this process mitochondrial biogenesis. In simple terms, your body begins building more energy factories. And that's one reason people often report a noticeable increase in energy after metabolic resets. The key is to keep the activity gentle and consistent, not exhausting. Good options during these 3 days include walking for 20 to 30 minutes, light mobility exercises, gentle cycling, basic body weight movements. What you want to avoid are extremely intense workouts that place too much stress on the body while calorie intake is reduced. The goal here is metabolic signaling, not exhaustion. Pro tip number 2, hydration changes everything. Another factor that many people overlook during metabolic resets is hydration. When the body begins burning stored glycogen and fat, it also releases stored water and electrolytes. This is why some people experience headaches, fatigue, or dizziness when attempting fasting or metabolic resets. The problem often isn't the reset itself, it's dehydration and electrolyte imbalance. To support the body during these 3 days, focus on consistent hydration. Water is essential, but many experts also recommend adding natural mineral sources. Examples include a pinch of sea salt in water, mineral water, bone broth, potassium-rich vegetables. These help maintain proper nerve and muscle function while your metabolism shifts. Many people are surprised how dramatically energy improves simply by correcting hydration during fasting periods. Pro tip number 3. Sleep is the real regeneration window. Here's something fascinating. Some of the most powerful regenerative signals triggered during metabolic resets don't happen while you're awake. They happen while you sleep. During deep sleep, the body releases hormones involved in tissue repair, cellular regeneration, metabolic regulation. If sleep is poor during the reset, those regenerative processes are significantly weaker. So during these 3 days, protecting your sleep becomes extremely important. Simple adjustments can make a big difference. Avoid bright screens an hour before bed. Keep the room cool and dark. Stop caffeine earlier in the day. Maintain a consistent sleep schedule. Think of sleep as the repair window where the body completes the work started by the metabolic signals earlier in the day. Common mistakes people make. Now let's talk about the 3 biggest mistakes people make when attempting metabolic resets. Because avoiding these mistakes may be just as important as following the strategies themselves. Mistake number 1. Cutting calories too aggressively. Many people believe the reset will work faster if they eat almost nothing, but extreme calorie restriction sends the body into stress mode, not repair mode. When the body senses prolonged starvation, it actually slows metabolism to conserve energy. Instead of activating beneficial pathways, the body prioritizes survival. The 3-day reset works best when the body still receives nutrient-dense foods, just in a way that keeps insulin relatively low. Remember, the goal is signaling, not deprivation. Mistake number 2. Breaking the reset with hidden sugars. Another extremely common mistake involves hidden sugars. Many foods that appear healthy can quickly spike insulin levels. Examples include fruit juices, sweetened yogurt, flavored coffee drinks, processed health bars. Even small amounts of these can interrupt the metabolic switch we discussed earlier. During the reset period, keeping sugar intake low helps maintain stable insulin levels, allowing the body to remain in fat-burning mode. Mistake number 3. Expecting instant results. The final mistake is psychological. Many people expect dramatic changes within a single 3-day cycle. But the real value of metabolic resets comes from repeated signals over time. Think of it like exercising a muscle. One workout won't transform the body, but repeated signals gradually create lasting change. Short metabolic resets can act as periodic reminders to your biology, encouraging the body to activate repair systems that modern lifestyles rarely trigger. And this leads to one of the most important truths about the human body. Your body is not designed to simply wear out with age. It was built with incredibly sophisticated repair systems, systems that repair cells, systems that remove damaged components, systems that regenerate tissues. The problem is that many of those systems depend on specific biological signals that our modern environment rarely provides. Constant food availability, late-night eating, chronic stress, poor sleep. All of these can keep the body locked in storage mode rather than repair mode. But when you occasionally provide the signals the body evolved to respond to, like short metabolic resets, nutrient-dense foods, proper sleep, and gentle movement, you may begin reactivating those natural repair pathways. And when that happens, many people notice something remarkable. Energy improves, mental clarity returns, fat metabolism becomes more efficient, and the body begins behaving more like it did years earlier. Not because you discovered a miracle cure, but because you allowed your biology to do what it was designed to do. If you found this explanation helpful, make sure to subscribe and join us in the next video, where we'll explore another fascinating question. Why some people in their 60s have younger mitochondria than people in their 40s, and the daily habits scientists believe make the difference. Until next time, take care of your body, because it's far more capable of repair than most people realize.